Hello YouTubers, today I am going to show you how to do 24 karat gold inlay. The project that I'm working on is an axe for well-known knife maker extraordinaire Henning Wilkinson, member of the South African Knife Makers Guild. And this is the axe that I'll be doing a Griffon inlay on. First I did the design for the inlay, scaled it to size, and next step would be to do the transfer. So what I'm going to do is place my paper with my design that's been printed on a laser printer face down on the metal, position it exactly where I want the design to be. And when I'm happy with the placement, hold it in place with some masking tape. Now Henning told me that the metal he used to produce this axe is 01 tool steel. So I have never engraved 01 tool steel before. He told me that the center part has not been hardened. So this is totally new ground for me as well. I have to see how this engraves. And what I'm doing is just placing a little bit of acetone on the back of the paper, applying a little bit of pressure. It's just to transfer the excess ink from the paper onto the metal. Just make sure that I've covered every little detail. Now once that is dried, I just simply peel the paper off. And this should leave me guidelines to follow for the engraving, to cut the outlines. This particular design did not transfer very clearly, so what I need to do is actually have a sample picture to be able to reference what I'm doing and retracing the lines with the scriber. All the outlines have been cut. Okay, the background removal will now start, cutting the pocket for the inlays. The recess for the pocket has been cut, and I'm going to start cutting the undercuts in the side walls. I'm using a round graver that I modified. I've completed cutting all the recess cuts on the side walls of the design. The next step I'm going to do is to cut little teeth in the bottom of the pocket, and in the areas, large areas, I'll be using a 96-degree V-shaped parallel heel graver, and in the areas where the graver might be too wide, I'll use a narrow flat graver to raise teeth in the bottom. So what will be holding the gold in place, the gold wire, is the undercuts on the side walls as well as the teeth cut in the bottom of the pocket. So let's go ahead and do that. For the next step, I'll be using a flat graver to get into all the narrow areas where I can't go with the 96-degree parallel heel graver, the V-shaped graver. Now what I'm going to do, in the tips of the feathers where I'm unable to undercut or teeth at the bottom, the very tips of the feathers, I'm using a turned upside down flat graver with an adjusted face angle, very flat face angle, that I made slightly blunt at the tip. And for this I'll make an undercut on the side walls in an alternating pattern, which will leave enough space for the gold to be hammered in. So what this does, it will make a raised little notch on the metal on the side wall. The undercuts have been cut, as well as the teeth in the bottom of the pocket. What I'm going to do now is to take a smoke print of the outlines so that I can transfer that to a sheet of 24 karat gold for piercing, because in this case I will not be using a wire for the inlay. I'll actually cut out the outlines from a solid sheet of 0.3 millimeter 24 karat gold sheet. So as you can see, there's some soot from the flame on the axe. And once the soot is on the metal, I'll take some Scotch tape, place it over the soot, being careful not to smudge it. and I gently rub to get a precise copy of the outlines. I can then lift the Scotch tape, which will peel off the suit like so. I then stick this Scotch tape to my gold sheet for piercing. I've completed piercing the design. Next step would be to actually burn the tape off. This will serve two purposes. First of all, to get the tape off. Second of all, I'm going to anneal the gold plate, which will make it much easier for the inlay work to be done. The inlay process can now begin. Once the gold is hammered in, I can start filing and sanding it flush with the surface of the metal. I'm very careful to keep the filings because I can clean them and remelt it for other gold inlays later on. I'll now start the outlining of the inlay. The outlines have been cut. My next step is to retransfer again on the gold inlay itself to get the details of the feathers and the eyes. The trick would be to place your transfer accurately . The final step in the process is to add the ink to the design. I'm using Rust-Oleum flat black paint on my fingertip. Gently wiping off the excess with my finger. And then finally gently wiping with a piece of paper. Being very careful not to wipe the ink out of the lines.